Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Soft Power Project. Today, I wanted to talk about this concept that I've been working on for the past year. And it's the concept of surrendering. And you probably heard me talking about this word and quite a few times on the podcast. And yes, it's on my mind because luckily I was given many, many, many lessons over the past year to really learn what it is. And to be completely honest with you, I found it so incredibly difficult. It's probably the most difficult thing I really ever had to do. And I spent almost a year really not knowing what that is because everyone talked about it. Everyone said that, oh, surrender to universe, to God, to your higher self, however you wanted to put it. Conceptually, it sounds so beautiful and so enlightening, but in reality, I just can't grasp it. It doesn't land on me. And, like I said, for the past year, I was given many opportunities to learn. And what I've actually realized is that I did learn, but I seem to had to go through the cycle again and again. And the cycle goes, I had an expectation on a situation. Then the reality hits. The outcome is completely different from my expectation. Then I went into frustration, sadness, anger, you name it, all the emotion because things did not happen the way I planned it. Then I realized that I needed to just let go and really surrender to universe, to God. And while I did learn how to shorten the time from going frustration to self-realization, I feel like I'm still in that cycle. It's almost like the idea of surrendering is the afterthought. So I start to think, why is it though? Is it a way I could find how to just surrender from the core of it, from the beginning? And I started to just ask this question in my head is why is surrendering so difficult for someone like me? And I'm going to try to be a little generic here. Someone like me, meaning that people pleasers. And I actually realized something these couple of days is that instead of saying difficult, the question is actually, why is surrendering feel so unsafe for people pleasers, for me? Because essentially that's really how I feel. It's not difficult. I feel physically, emotionally uncomfortable with the idea of letting go, with the idea of surrendering or go with the flow. And it's always that afterthought that I had to really teach myself. And here's the thing. People pleasers, from childhood, we're conditioned to do, to perform, to prevent things from happening, to test the temperature of the room, whether it's a physical room or maybe just a room in our head, to be responsible for everyone's emotion and reaction, to be responsible to manage everything, going from physical things, emotional to mental health. And, if we don't manage it, something bad's going to happen. And even when something good happened, we still feel like something bad's going to happen because not doing anything, just accepting things feels very unsafe for us. And also surrendering just truly requires people to be comfortable with uncertainty and that absolute trust. in ourselves and in ourselves when something happened, we can still manage it no matter what. So it's really that realization that I have that I start to think about, okay, so if I were to redefine what surrendering means to people pleasers like me, where the concept itself doesn't quite land, right? How do I redefine it? How do I put into the words that I can actually understand? And I realize that ultimately surrendering just means that you going back to the most authentic self, setting boundaries, hold boundaries, even when people don't like it, even when you know that people are going to push back. Tell your truth. Align action with your words. And also act without preventing things from happening, act without pre-planning what other people's reaction is going to be, and simply allowing people to be disappointed around you because you're setting boundaries. And most important of all is not to fix the temperature of the room, whether it's physical or it's just in your head. So basically, where it's so needed that we need to just to trust ourselves that we can overcome anything no matter what. So it's almost like we have to kind of go back to the root of it. How do we feel safe within our body, and how do we feel safe no matter what happened around us? And once we have that safety and trust in ourselves, then going with the flow and letting go of the expectation becomes easier and becomes something that we can actually understand. And I hope that, from this episode, while it's a very short micro episode, you can just be reminded that surrendering is the micro movements of your everyday life. This isn't something that it just like conceptual, oh, just let go. It really begins with how do you even talk to yourself, right? Self-talk, it's so important. That's why we do affirmation. That's why we look at the mirror and we say, you can do this. You're beautiful. You're smart. You are incredibly capable and you're worthy. That's why we practice affirmation. And it's really about how we perceived ourselves every single day, no matter what happened. It doesn't always have to be this big lessons that we learn and afterthoughts. It's a thing that you do every day. And when that accumulate and finally allow your brain to rewire subconsciously to believe that you trust yourself and you're safe no matter what, you're worthy. And I think you started to do things differently. You started to expect things without expecting any outcome. And you would start to not needing this big lessons every time. So hopefully that with this, I'm going to share with you how I cope with life lessons after having this realization. Because I mean, after all, it is quite simple. It is treating yourself nicely. It is about wellness. And yeah, I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. And I know 2026 is a really busy time. Busy, especially now in January, is a really busy month for a lot of people. Make sure you take care of yourself and don't skip the routine that you need to keep yourself grounded. Keep your affirmation. If you love journaling, if you like meditation, do it anyway, even if it only takes about 5 minutes. And I hope everyone is having a wonderful day, and I will talk to you guys next time.